Here.
Trustee Zora?
Here.
Trustee Council?
Here.
Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Caputo is absent. Trustee Diaferio is absent. President DeCipio.
Here.
A quorum is present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy. Moving on, there's only one individual here, a resident, who would like to speak tonight. It's a non-agenda related item, so I'm going to have you come up now and speak, sir. You don't have to wait to hold the meeting.
Thank you.
Skip it down, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's regarding this leaflet that was sent in the mail a couple days ago or a week ago. It's about the permits, and I'm just concerned. Although they do have express permits, which helps a little bit in spirit, I'm still worried that even the express ones are can take 3 business days. And if you're unfortunate enough that the problem happens, say, Friday afternoon, and if you're super unfortunate, if it's a long weekend, that adds not only 3 business days, but 5 business days, or even 6 business days for a holiday weekend. And for things like, I understand some of them, yeah, I could see, rebuilding a chimney or something like that, a major project, but some things maybe are smaller and maybe it's not clear, like roof repair. I mean, if I have a leak in the roof, I need it fixed now. Maybe it smears tar, maybe a shingle blew off in a high wind or something. A minor repair like that really needs to be done right away before the next rainfall. And say water heater replacement too, especially in the winter when the cold water is even colder. I mean, 6 days without hot water would be, terrible. And for residential furnace and air conditioner replacement, HVAC, which is really redundant because that's the same thing, replacement. I mean, if it's in the middle of winter and, not only the work required to do the replacement, but adding 3 or 5 or 6 days onto that with no heat in the house would be, unthinkable. Your pipes would freeze, not only yourself freezing. And emergency sewer repairs, maybe kind of iffy. I mean, yeah, if it requires digging up, yeah, need permit for that, I would assume. But maybe if it's something minor, maybe they just, or maybe they just start minor with rotting, and maybe it just kind of maybe escalates as they try to get the water flow, and they may not even be sure how much it needs. And if they first had to wait and twiddle their thumbs for 6 days and you're without sewer, that can be a problem. Maybe there could be some workaround, like if you hire a reputable or licensed contractor, that they can begin the work and then they can maybe do the permit afterwards to be inspected. It'll be like an inspection permit if you hire a reputable licensed contractor for these kinds of things. That's my concern, because being 3, 5, or 6 additional days beyond the work needed, that's almost like a news story that a slumlord building that is out of no heat, no water for 6 days, and maybe something could be done with that, or if there could be some sort of. Well, if it's offices are closed, you can't even ask for some sort of leniency because all you get is nothing on your phone. So maybe something could be done.
Sir, can we get your name?
Yes, Frank Klimas at 709 North Wyola.
Okay, Julia will get in touch with you.
Okay.
Julia is our village manager.
I'm sorry, what?
Julia is our village manager. She's coming now to get your information. She'll get in contact with you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to address the board at this time? Non-agenda, agenda,
Yes.
doesn't matter?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Consent agenda, Sandy?
The consent agenda is as follows. Action or approval of minutes. 1, Village Board meeting June 23rd, 2026. 2, Village Board work session July 14th, 2026. B, action, implementation of a village-wide municipal sales tax and amendment of business district sales tax rates. Motion, to approve the following ordinances. An ordinance implementing a non-home rule municipal retailer's occupation tax and a non-home rule municipal service occupation tax in the village of LaGrange Park. An ordinance amending the retailer's occupation tax and service occupation tax imposed within the Village Market Business District by Village of LaGrange Park Ordinance Number 1055 to reduce the tax rate thereof and approving related amendments to the Business District Plan for the Village Market Business District. An ordinance amending the retailer's occupation tax and service occupation tax imposed within the 31st Street North LaGrange Road Business District by Village of LaGrange Park Ordinance Number 1056 to reduce the tax rate thereof and approving related amendments to the Business District Plan for the 31st Street North LaGrange Road Business District. An ordinance amending the retailer's occupation tax and service occupation tax imposed within the 31st Street Barnesdale amended business district by Village of LaGrange Park Ordinance Number 1273 to reduce the tax rate thereof and approving related amendments to the Business District Plan for the 31st Street Barnesdale amended business district. An ordinance amending the retailer's occupation tax and service occupation tax imposed within the 31st Street Maple Avenue Business District by Village of LaGrange Park Ordinance Number 1058 to reduce the tax rate thereof and approving related amendments to the Business District Plan for the 31st Street Maple Avenue Business District. C, action. Semi-annual review of closed session minutes 2026 half year. Motion to approve a resolution approving the content of and or release of certain closed meeting minutes of regular and special meetings and work session meetings of the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of LaGrange Park 2026 half-year review. D, action. Accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion 1, to authorize the President and Chairperson of the Finance Committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the Treasurer and Village Clerk to sign checks in payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2, to authorize the Village Treasurer and Village Clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next Village Board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
So a motion to approve consent agenda is presented.
So moved.
Second.
And the second. Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
President DeCipio?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy. Next up, Village Manager's Report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, I have just one item to report on this evening, and that is regarding Cook County property tax distribution reporting. We received notice this afternoon from the Cook County Treasurer's Office that the statement of distribution report is now available for the Village of LaGrange Park for property tax distributions received during the 2024 second installment collection period onward. Staff has been awaiting this information for some time due to delays associated with the county's property tax system issues. The report provides the detailed information needed to reconcile the village's property tax distributions, and its availability is particularly timely as we are currently going through our annual audit process. And that concludes my report. So good news.
Thank you, Julia. Administration Committee, Trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeCipio. The following is the monthly report for the Administration Committee. State of the Village. The Village hosted the annual State of the Village reception on July 22nd at the LaGrange Park Public Library. Thank you to the many residents, community partners, and elected officials who joined village staff to reflect on the past year and look ahead to the projects, partnerships, and priorities that will continue moving LaGrange Park forward. If you were unable to attend, a recording of the presentation will be available soon so you can watch it at your convenience. Please keep an eye on the village's website and Facebook page for updates on when the recording is posted. Next is the Arbor Day ceremony. The village will host its annual Arbor Day tree planting ceremony on Friday, July 31st at 10:30 a.m. on Oak Avenue between Sherwood Road and Forest Road. This year's ceremony will honor Alexandria Zuck in recognition of her longstanding commitment to environmental stewardship and her many contributions to the Grange Park community through her leadership and volunteer services. Residents are invited to join the village in celebrating Alexandria and her lasting impact on the community. And last, the seasonal watering reminder. The village would like to remind residents of seasonal watering regulations that are in effect from May 15 to September 15. Odd street addresses can water lawns on odd numbered calendar days, and even street addresses can water on even numbered calendar days. Thank you for your cooperation. The next item on my agenda report is the Comcast Fiber Internet Renewal. The purpose is to consider approval of a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute a renewal agreement with Comcast Business to increase the village's fiber internet service from 200 megabytes per second to 500 megabytes per second for a 60-month 5-year term expiring July 31, 2031. General background. Due to the village's recent migration to Microsoft 365 and the continued expansion of cloud-based software and online services, staff has evaluated the village's internet bandwidth needs. As more applications, file storage, video conferencing, and email services are hosted in the cloud, reliable and higher capacity internet connectivity has become increasingly important to maintain efficient operations across all village departments. Comcast Business has provided renewal proposals for both 36-month and 60-month terms at the increased 500 megabytes per second term, and those include the following terms. The 36-month would cost the village $1,051.95 per month, and the 60-month term would cost the village $954.95 per month. Staff recommends the 60-month term, which provides a monthly savings of approximately $97 over $1,100 annually compared to the 36-month option, while meeting the village's long-term connectivity needs. The recommended 5-year agreement extends beyond the current term of the village president. As with most telecommunication service agreements, the contract includes an early termination provision. Should a future village board elect to terminate the agreement before its expiration, the village would be responsible for an early termination fee based on the remaining term of the agreement. While these services do not require statutory competitive bidding, it is desired to proceed with the entering into the agreement after waiving the village's own local procurement process, because the contractor's government pricing is only available through a state of Illinois contract, and the contractor is the company awarded that contract after going through a competitive bidding process. This item is for discussion and action. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution approving the waiver of the competitive procurement process in reliance on state contract pricing and authorizing the execution of a renewal agreement with Comcast Business, increasing fiber internet bandwidth from 200 megabytes per second to 500 megabytes per second for a 5-year period expiring July 31st, 2031.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion, trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeCipio. As it's stated in the memo, this is highly needed, and I believe that going forward, especially with migrating all the information to the cloud, this is definitely a necessity. So I'm all in support of it, and I think that it's a competitive price based on what the terms are, and considering it's a long-term contract, I think that they're giving us a pretty good price. So I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, trustee Council. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zorro?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeSilvio. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you. I'd like to report the building department activities for June of 2026. 134 building permits were issued in June 26 compared to 84 permits issued in last year. Year to date, we have completed 533 building permits compared to 392 building permits at this time last year. The estimated construction costs for June 2026 were just over $2 million, which is more than the $1.3 million that was realized in June 2025. Permit fees collected last month were $36,821.32, which was more than the $22,833 collected in June of last year. 189 building inspections were conducted this past month compared to 160 in June 2025. Year to date, we have completed a total of 895 building inspections compared to 808 building inspections in June of last year. A total of 5 new code enforcement cases were recorded last month. 2 of these cases were closed out, and the remaining 3 are still currently open. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Engineering Capital Projects, in place of Trustee DeFerrio, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Engineering capital projects report for the month of June are as follows. Scottdale Head Wall Replacement Project. The construction of this project has been completed with final inspection by the village and the Cook County Forest Preserve regarding the restoration is satisfactory. 2026 Park Roadway Improvements Project. The construction of this project is underway and being coordinated with the improvements at Park Junior High. Contract has an interim completion date that requires work on the 300 block to be completed prior to Labor Day, which will be in time for school to restart. The project in its entirety will be completed by the end of September. For the Public Works Project Storage and Parking Lot Project, the construction of the improvements of the parking lot is underway and is currently projected to be completed by mid-August. For the Central Area Sewer Separation Project, bids were opened for the first 2 phases of the project, and the results are under review with a recommendation projected for the August Village Board meeting. And regarding the 2026 roadway bond paving program, bids were opened and a recommendation of award is scheduled for the July Village Business meeting this evening. The project includes improvements to Raymond Avenue, King Court, and Castle Circle. Work is scheduled to begin immediately following the award and is anticipated to be completed by the end of October. And that concludes the report from the Engineering and Capital Projects for the month of June.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeSilvio. The following is the Police Department summary for June of 2026. The total number of crimes reported for the first 6 months of 2026 are approximately 24% higher than last year, with 132 incidents reported this year compared to 103 in 2025. Again, a significant increase of retail thefts has occurred within the Jewel. Traffic enforcement is at 2,667 total tickets issued through June of 2026. This includes adjudication and state-issued citations. Overall, police activity is 1,134 total incidents reported in the month of June 2026. Total incidents for the first 6 months total 7,038 total incidents. Of those 1,134 total incidents for the month of June, 42 were assists to the fire department, 207 were self-initiated building or park checks, and 257 were traffic stops, and 69 were closed home checks. The department members attended 436.5 hours of training, along with the completion of required monthly online training and Lexipol daily training bulletins. This does include field training for 1 recruit. Police department staff took part in the Wounded Warrior Ride and assisted with road closures as bicyclists traveled through town. Commander Tim Griffin graduated from Northwestern University's School of Police Staff and Command, which is a rigorous 12-week intensive leadership and management education program that helps prepare for senior command positions. Big congratulations to Commander Griffin. The department also welcomed Officer Mark Lemus, who lateraled over from a neighboring jurisdiction. Multiple staff took part in rapid deployment training both in LaGrange and McCook. Staff took part in multiple Zip Code Day events. Don't miss out on the upcoming National Night Out event taking place on Tuesday, August 4 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the grounds of Ideal School and Countryside. Follow the Village of LaGrange Park's Facebook page for further details. The LaGrange Park FOP Lodge 243 charity golf outing is taking place on Thursday, August 20th at White Pines in Bensonville. A shotgun start at 9 a.m. and all proceeds will benefit the Illinois Special Olympics Torch Run. Please contact Sergeant Tim Griffin or check out the LaGrange Park FOP Lodge 243 Facebook page. Please follow the police department on the Village of LaGrange Park Facebook page, and a friendly reminder about securing one's personal property at all times. Please lock your vehicles and residences, especially during overnight hours. If you are going on vacation, please utilize the new online vacation watch portal, frontlinepss.com/LaGrange Park, or log on to the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, feel free to fill out a vacation watch card at the police department between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. And as always, if you have any questions or need additional information, you can contact Chief Contois. Thank you. That concludes the police department report. Now the fire department activities for June of 2026. EMS incidents this month were 175. There have been 1,106 year-to-date compared to 1,070 year-to-date in 2025. Fire rescue incidents this month were 107. There have been 450 year-to-date compared to 364 year-to-date in 2025. All fire apparatus pumps underwent annual service testing with UL. Truck 1219 also underwent aerial device testing. In addition, all ground ladders were tested, which is required biannually. Personnel completed lab work and annual medical physicals this month, which are done on site. A CPR class was provided to summer staff at the Park District. Personnel began using a home located at Barnesdale and Garfield for training. It is owned by School District 102 and is scheduled for demolition this year. 10 of our personnel completed a 40-hour in-house fire apparatus engineer class. The course was offered nights and weekends to accommodate part-time personnel, and they were able to challenge the state certification test upon completion. Personnel displayed support for participants of the Wounded Warrior Soldier Ride. As part of such, our large flag was displayed from our ladder truck hanging over 31st Street at Brainerd Avenue. Most personnel completed their annually required driver's training cone course during the month. Personnel also displayed the American flag from our ladder truck for the Music Under the Stars event at Park Junior High, which was moved from Memorial Park due to the extreme heat warning. A few personnel attended a fundraising event with our ladder truck at Hop District. A couple of incidents of interest. On Sunday, June 7 at 3:45 a.m., LaGrange Park responded to a Mavis box alarm house fire in Hinsdale. We responded with a truck, a fire investigator, and the chief, who served as the safety section officer. On Sunday, June 10 at 4:45 p.m., we responded with an engine and chief to assist LaGrange with a garage fire caused by down power lines from a storm. Personnel responded to multiple calls throughout the month related to storms. On Tuesday, June 16, at 3:45 a.m., we responded with an engine to assist LaGrange with a vehicle fire as they were tied up on previous incidents. On Wednesday, June 17, at 3:45 a.m., we responded to a motor vehicle crash at LaGrange Road and 31st Street involving a truck, car, and light pole. Personnel used a hydraulic rescue tool to remove a door to free one patient. And that concludes the monthly report for the fire department. Thank you. Oh, excuse me, sorry. The summary? Thank you. This is for an agreement for alarm monitoring and receiving equipment and services with Johnson Controls Security Solutions, LLC. The term is November 1st, 2026 to October 31st, 2029. The purpose is to approve an agreement for alarm monitoring and receiving equipment and services with Johnson Controls Security Solutions. The general background is as follows. The proposed agreement grants Johnson Controls the authority to continue providing alarm monitoring and receiving system, equipment, and services for customers whose alarm systems are connected through the Lyons Township Area Communications Center, also known as Elqaq. Johnson Controls is responsible for providing, maintaining, and servicing the necessary equipment and for monitoring alarms in accordance with the agreement. A similar agreement with Johnson Controls had been in place since 2018, and before that with ADT, and then Tyco, who merged with Johnson Controls since 2011. All commercial and larger multifamily properties within our village that are required to be protected by fire alarm systems are also required to have those systems directly connected to Elqaq through a wireless radio network. This agreement allows Johnson Controls to maintain the network and, as noted, provide equipment and maintenance of such. This agreement also sets other terms, including the end user costs. Under the proposed pricing structure, affected end users within participating villages would pay $90 per month. This would be an increase of $15 per month, up from the current $75. That difference includes a $30 monthly charge to customers, previously $15, which is collected by Johnson Controls and is remitted to Elqaq. This change is intended to support Elqaq's internal alarm monitoring operations and related costs. In considering the new agreement, Elqaq members looked at comparable monthly rates from nearby communities provided by Johnson Controls, which are as follows. Hinsdale at $88, Oak Brook at $91, and Clarendon Hills at $103.50. Further out from the immediate area are Hanover Park at $90, Villa Park at $85, and Buffalo Grove and Palatine at $73. Based on these comparables, the proposed $90 monthly rate appears overall consistent with the regional market for similar services. In discussing the new agreement with Johnson Controls, we also expressed our need for improved customer service in some areas. There have been some concerns from a couple of end users about billing and the difficulty in finding someone to handle and resolve matters efficiently. We met with representatives from Johnson Controls, and they appeared to understand the issues and committed to resolving them. The proposed resolution also authorizes the village manager or designee to execute future annual renewals of the agreement, provided those renewals are approved at a public meeting by the Elqaq Board of Directors and the financial terms and other obligations imposed on the village remain substantially the same, with recognition that reasonable fee adjustments may occur. The village manager would then advise the village president and board of trustees of the renewal conditions following Elqaq approval. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends approving the attached resolution authorizing an agreement for alarm monitoring and receiving equipment and services with Johnson Controls Security Solutions, LLC, the term of which is November 1, 2026 to October 31st, 2029. This item is for discussion and action. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of an agreement for alarm monitoring and receiving equipment and services with Johnson Controls Security Solutions, LLC, terms of November 1, 2026 to October 31st, 2029.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion, trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeCipio. This is very necessary in considering it's a long-term contract. I wholeheartedly support it, and I think that with the other comparables that were offered in the packet tonight, we can see that this is pretty much in line with other communities in the area. So I fully support this.
Thank you, trustee Council. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just curious, why is there such a variation in pricing from Johnson's Controls? Any idea? I mean, it's not a large number, but
I'm not sure. I assume there may be lengths of contracts, there may be number of end users, and it may be what the communities had requested as far as how much they get back in remittance to help offset their costs. That's just speculation, but that's what I would guess.
yeah, it just seems curious. I mean, we look at some of the neighboring communities and the difference in prices. You know, taking a look at, well, how does that compare to us? It seems like it's inconsistent. Not enough, I don't think, to not support it. You know, it's within the range. It just seems kind of, you know, kind of strange that it's a different price. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Lautner. Council?
I would echo Chief's comments, and I've also heard, just in conversation with Johnson Controls, that also part of the pricing differential is due to timing of contracts. When existing contracts expire and new contracts come in with some of the other entities in the metropolitan area, and they're trying to get everybody up to the rate that the village is signing, Elqaq is signing up for now. So some of the laggers are with their contract renewals down the road, will be getting up to this floor that we're setting with this one.
Thank you, Council. Any other comments? Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. This question is directed at Chief Megas. You're confident that the concerns that have been brought both verbally and written to the board by business owners in town have been addressed sufficiently?
We believe so. You know, that was one of the criteria. We had talked to them previously when, you know, concerns have arisen, and I look back, I think we've had 3 or 4 and maybe only 1 or 2 in writing in the last 8 to 10 years, a couple verbal ones, but that was one of the most critical aspects when we started talking about the contract, is to readdress any outstanding concerns. And outside of those who don't want to pay any monthly fee, you know, we do think it's beneficial for the timeliness of a detection of a fire and our response. Outside of that, I believe the other concerns have been addressed. And if they arise again, one of our criteria was to have somebody tangible that we can directly contact and get a resolve quickly.
Okay.
That was part of our discussion.
Very good. Thank you. I support, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, trustee Council.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the report for tonight. Thank you.
Moving on, Public Works Committee, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Start out with the monthly report for June. Public Works repaired 1 water main break and replaced a 6-inch valve. Second round of brush collection was successful. Each section of the village was completed, and staff utilized the brush tracking app on GIS for full transparency of up-to-date progress for residents to follow. June brought a great deal of severe weather, causing numerous events that caused widespread tree damage. Emergency tree work had to be completed, along with completing a special brush pickup throughout the village. Zip code day 60526. Numbers continued touring locations throughout the village and made their last and final destination at the Park District Zip Code Day event. See Click Fix 311. Requests were investigated and completed. Public Works received 79 resident requests in just the month of June. Staff participated in a culture training workshop held at Plymouth Place. An open house was held at on Park Road to inform and educate residents of the repaving projects on the 300 and 400 block of Park. Public Works assisted with the Wounded Warrior Soldier Ride by putting out barricades and blocking intersections. Staff participated in the paint and post kickoff meeting to prepare for the upcoming project. Pothole work continued with hot mix asphalt in various locations. Parkway restorations were completed from previous utility excavations. Water meters were read in all sections. 15 monthly bacterial samples were taken. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns. Routine maintenance of the department's fleet and equipment was completed, as well as on police and fire vehicles. Next, we have resolution for open purchase orders for water service with associated technical service. The purpose staff seeks the village board's approval to establish an open purchase order with a not to exceed amount of $30,000 for payment to associated technical services for certain water leak detection services during fiscal year 26-27 with a waiver of the village's competitive contract procurement process. Excuse me. General background: over a fiscal year, the Public Works Department purchases service for water repairs. Since 1979, Associated Technical Services has been a leader in infrastructure services and has maintained a 96% accuracy rate for pinpointing leaks within the first repair excavation. This is the highest documented accuracy in the business. Associated Technical Services is a local vendor with whom the village has had a very good, long-standing working relationship, and this vendor has previously provided prompt, excellent service at affordable pricing for services. There are adequate funds in the fiscal year 26-27 budget for the Village Water Fund to accommodate this purchase, and village staff recommends that the village board approve the requested cap on expenditures under this open PO process as follows. Associated Technical Services, water leak detection services, $30,000. The fiscal year 26-27 budget includes $30,000 in the water fund under supplies, $570,60600 for leak detection services. Staff recommends that an open purchase order with Associated Technical Services be approved in a not to exceed amount listed above at tonight's meeting. Due to waiving the competitive contract procurement process, the village board must approve by a 2/3 majority vote. Motion to approve a resolution approving the waiver of the competitive procurement contract process and authorizing the approval and execution of a vendor contract with Associated Technical Services for water leak detection for fiscal year 2026-2027, authorizing the expenditure of an amount not to exceed $30,000 from the village water fund.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
Like the document stated, they've had a good relationship with us going back to 1979, and by the writings, we can't beat a 96% accuracy rate, so I completely support this.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner.
Yes.
Trustee Zora.
Yes.
Trustee Consul.
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan.
Yes.
Trustee, oh, sorry. The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay. Next, we'll go for a resolution for Plymouth Place water meter replacement authorization. Staff seeks the village board's approval to establish an open purchase order to spend a not to exceed amount of $54,000 from the village water fund to purchase and install 2 new fire and domestic water meters for Plymouth Place with a waiver of the village's competitive procurement process. General background: 3 connections serve Plymouth Place to the village's water distribution system. Each connection includes a fire meter and a domestic usage meter package. There are 5 of these fire line meters connections throughout the village. The meter connections located at Edgewood and Richmond and Edgewood and Woodlawn were replaced in 2024, and 1 at Plymouth Place in 2019 near the pond. Plymouth Place still requires 2 meters to be replaced located at the north and south end of the drive. There are 2 water meter replacements last year that will complete the cycle. Choosing a meter for these locations is difficult because they need to be Underwriters Laboratory and FM Global International Insurance Carrier certified to meet fire protection standards. The remaining 2 water meters are over 15 years old and the parts need to be rebuilt and they're no longer available. Badger has a line of water meters that supply a high flow fire protection and a low flow domestic meter. The recommended meter is UL and FM certified and will work with our current reading system. Midwest Meter is the sole provider of Badger meters in Northwest Illinois. One exception of the package that doesn't meet our current need is the low flow or domestic meter. Badger meters can only register as low as 2.5 gallons per minute. Staff would recommend installing a 2-inch Census Omni-C, our current meter for this application, which can capture water usage as low as 1/4 gallon per minute. There are adequate funds in the fiscal year 26-27 budget for the Village Water Fund to accommodate this purchase, and village staff recommends that the board approve the requested cap on expenditures under this open PO process as follows. Midwest Meter, Badger Metering Fire Line Package, $54,000. The fiscal year 26-27 budget includes $75,000 in the water fund under supplies, $570,86750 for water meters. Staff recommends that an open purchase order with Midwest Meter be approved in a not to exceed dollar amount at tonight's meeting. Due to waiving the competitive procurement process, the village board must approve by a 2/3 majority vote. Therefore, motion to approve a resolution approving the waiver of the competitive procurement process and authorizing the approval and execution of a vendor contract with Midwest Meter for Plymouth Place water meter replacement for fiscal year 26-2027, authorizing the expenditure of an amount not to exceed $54,000 from the village's water fund.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I fully support this. I was a little surprised that the domestic meter being able to capture as low as 1/4 gallon per minute. Look, it's a mechanical instrument, parts wear out, and we want to make sure we're capturing all the water that's being used. So I support this.
Any other comments from the board? Trustee Laudner?
So when would these be installed then?
Right now, there's about a 10 to 12 week lead time to get them in because they're special built. These things are pretty big. I mean, they're about the size of this table. And then we also, in the meantime, will start getting prices to get a contractor to get them installed. So I would probably say before winter months get here.
Oh, before winter. Great.
Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy.
Next, we go resolution for Core and Main census fee schedule. Purpose, staff seeks the village board's approval to accept a 3-year bid proposal with Core and Main for the upkeep of the village's census water meter reading infrastructure with a waiver of the village's contract procurement process. General background: in May of 2015, the village entered into an agreement with Core and Main to host the data from the village's water meter system and provide yearly maintenance to the system. Each year, the invoice is submitted and will need village board approval since it's over the village manager's authorization. A census fee for 2026 as follows: $21,090. For 2027, it'll be $21,722, and for 2028, the fee will be $22,374. There's a 3% increase added each year per service year. The fiscal year 26-27 budget includes $21,000 in the water fund under professional services, $570,53000 for annual meter software support. Staff recommends approval of the bid proposal for a 3-year contract with Core and Main be approved in an amount not to exceed listed above at tonight's meeting. Due to waiving the competitive bid process, the village board must approve by a 2/3 vote. Therefore, make a motion to approve a resolution approving the waiver of the competitive procurement process and authorizing the approval and execution of a vendor contract with Core and Main for the census water meter reading infrastructure maintenance service for fiscal year 26-27, and authorizing the expenditure of an amount not to exceed $21,090 from the village's water fund.
Second.
Motion and second. Trustee Sheehan, discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Core in Maine is a leader in the industry, and census meters have served us well. I support this.
Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zorro?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay. Next we go resolution 2026 roadway bond paving project in the North Village Hall Green parking lot project. The purpose is to approve a resolution and contract with the low bidder, Triggy Construction, Inc., for the 2026 roadway bond paving and Village Hall Green parking lot projects. General background, the village engineer developed project plans and specifications for the 2026 road bond paving project, which will improve Raymond Avenue between 26th to 30th Street, Castle Circle, and Kings Court through the replacement of curb and gutter and concrete sidewalks, driveway pavements, and drainage structures, the milling and resurfacing of asphalt pavement, and the restoration of parkways. As background, the village board rejected bids in May of 2026 for the Village Hall Green parking lot improvement project as the bids were just extremely too high. The village included the Village Hall Green lot improvement work in the 2026 road bond bid specifications, and as a result, significant savings were achieved. The initial low bid that was rejected equaled $307,490. The low bid after rebidding this project totaled $260,225, which still exceeds the project's budget, but the shortfall has been reduced to $18,905. The shortage will be covered by three funds. You see them below. The Village Hall Green lot parking lot work includes replacing the asphalt parking lot with permeable brick pavers and installing new concrete sidewalks and curbs. The bids came in at Triggy being the lowest qualified at $1,339,153.25. The engineer's estimate, we came in under the estimate. The estimate was $1,680,205. Triggy Construction has previously performed satisfactory work in the village and has a crew available to start immediately to help expedite the completion of Raymond Avenue in front of Brook Park School. You see the road bond budget numbers and the funds below, how it broke down. Staff recommends approving the acceptance of the low bid and entering into a contract with Triggy Construction, Inc. for the 2026 road bond paving and Village Hall Green parking lot infrastructure projects. Motion, a resolution accepting the lowest cost qualified and responsive bid and authorizing the approval and execution of a construction contract for the performance of services related to the 2026 road bond paving project and North Village Hall Green parking lot project with Triggy Construction, Inc. for fiscal year 2026-2027, and authorizing the expenditure of road bond, capital, water, and sewer funds in an amount not to exceed $1,339,152.25 to pay for such service.
Second.
Motion and second. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. It was good to reject those bids. You know, a lot of these companies aren't going to chase for something so small, so when we sweetened the pot and added more streets, now they wanted our business. Triggy has been around for a long time, and I support this. Looking forward to getting the road work going.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. I certainly support the road bond and the monies that have been bid for the road aspect of this, but I guess I'd like to hear again, what problem are we trying to address, or what are we trying to accomplish with the with the parking area in the front of the building here? I guess I'm still struggling with that a little bit. If we could talk about that a little bit. And I know we've done a great job in bringing this closer to budget, but I guess I'd just like to talk a little bit more about the Village Hall Green parking lot work that we're looking to accomplish with this.
Sure, I can get some get going here. a few years back, we started looking at some of the improvements that are going to be needed here at Village Hall. We had a trip and fall outside the Village Hall, and we had to do some emergency work with some grinding of the curbs and some sidewalks because they're just in poor shape. As we started looking into this and trying to be good stewards, we realized that we can potentially get some funding from the MWRD and make this a green infrastructure project. So we put in an application with the MWRD, and they're going to partner with us on this project. And I think I can't remember, it was like $69,000 are going to assist with us and partner on this. And again, anything that we can do to try to mitigate and help relieve any stormwater is always a positive. We have to go do the lot. The lot's in poor shape. We felt that putting in green infrastructure is going to be a wealthy investment while we're up here, and we're going to get all new curbs and sidewalks to make it safe for any residents or anybody that's going to be coming to visit the Village Hall.
And ADA compliant.
ADA compliant. And I know there's not a specific answer to this question, but in general, how long should something like that last? I mean, is this like a 10-year commitment? Is a 15-year commitment? I know at some point we're going to need to start looking at building issues and space issues and things of that nature, and I certainly wouldn't want to invest large dollars in something that, at some point within the relatively near future, may have to be, destroyed or whatever. So, is this something that should last for multiple decades?
Yeah, I mean, design-wise, yes, that's what their functionality is. They're supposed to be used for long-term, to help. There is definitely some maintenance costs that go with it, just because you have to make sure that the aggregate and the things and the water is being absorbed into that underground pool area, right? But it is, a good 20 to 25-year investment, like we did with our green intersections. Those have actually worked real well. I was driving through those during the storms the other night. Just some standing water next to the curbs, but that was just because of a lot of the debris that was on the grates. Other than that, they were actually functioning very well, and in the amount of rain that we had, they did well. So we felt that this would be a good project. It's a smaller project, but it's a project that was needed because of some of the safety concerns. And we felt that this would be the best way to go.
And so am I understanding this correctly, that with the $69,000 grant from MWRD will reduce this amount?
Yes. This is the total contract cost. So
right.
Take the 69 off of that,
Gotcha.
And then we're just going to be short just a little bit. But I mean, I think what Mark and I both agreed upon was, again, rejecting these bids originally because of those prices. I mean, we reduced it by almost $48,000 just by rebidding it and adding it to the big project. So, we've done our homework on that aspect and got some good favorable pricing, and I do believe it's a project that's worthy to go move forward with.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the clarifications.
Any other comments from the board? Trustee Council?
Thank you, President DeCipio. This goes to Rick. I was wondering if you could give a timeline of maintenance, and is it projected maintenance and upkeep yearly or every other year, or and maybe if you could lay out like some of the potential costs that it would impact us for this required maintenance, because we all know it's going to need maintenance at some point.
Yeah, this being different than an intersection where it's getting heavily traveled with garbage trucks and things like that, and a lot of commuters, having a parking lot is not going to take as much of that brunt as a normal roadway would. So I don't see that we're going to have settling or anything like that. But what I do see is just normal routine things that we have to do to fulfill the GI requirements with the MWRD. We have to do inspections 2 to 3 times a year. We have to make sure that it's percolating. It's all basic stuff. The bigger things would be if you needed to, like if we were not getting that absorption quickly, we would have to maybe rejuvenate the actual chips that are in between the bricks to help with it. Like you're going to get dirt and seed just from naturally blowing in the wind and everything are going to fill those up. That's the biggest thing. And one of the reasons that we were able to purchase that machine we did a few years ago, the snow machine, it's got that broom on it, and actually we can use that broom to help clean that out. you're looking at pretty minimal maintenance costs for probably the first 5 to 10 years, maybe a little bit more heavier after that, but it's a one-time cost, and then you're back down to just monitoring it.
Thank you.
Any other, Trustee Lautner?
Thanks. I have another question. Will any of the memorial bricks be moved as part of this project?
They are not going to be moved as part of this project.
Great.
Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy. 1 minute, Trustee Sheehan, Julia?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Staff has one update for the village board related to the road bond project for this year, and I'm going to turn it back over to Reg for that update.
Thank you, Julia. Just to provide the board a quick update, we've had some long conversations, Julie and I, and Andrew, which is Mark's partner over at Hancock, with some concerns over by Brook Park School with Superintendent Ryan Evans from District 95. Some of their concerns were valid. A lot of it had to do with timing of the project, and are we going to be able to get this project in before the start of school, right? Which they start sooner than District 102 does. We reassured Ryan. We've conversed with the contractor, Triggy Construction. They're actually willing to start tomorrow to get this going. They want to get this project done, and we're going to focus our attention on the 1200 block initially, just to get that done, so it's not going to impede any of the school, which he's pretty pleased about. In the meantime, they had some internal discussions. Some of the sidewalks that we're replacing in front of the main building off of Raymond, the 2 entrances, we have to replace some, have a good amount of sidewalk squares to help meet ADA requirements. Because of that, we now have to go up onto their property on their 2 main entrances and replace a good portion of, these are not just typical 5-foot wide sidewalks, these are larger. So we have to go up onto theirs to replace some, just so we can help get the pitch and everything for the ADA stuff. They came back and approached us and asked us if they could get a price potentially from the contractor to piggyback off of this to replace their sidewalks all the way to their 2 entrance doors, which it makes sense. They've agreed to the contract price. So because of this, at the next meeting in August, I'll be bringing back just a quick change order, but it's going to be to increase the contract amount, but then we're going to get reimbursed that money right back. So it's just a formality. So we just wanted to inform everybody. District 95 is completely on board. They're rooting us on, and we're going to be rooting ourselves.
So Director Addy, would you like to provide the cost of that increase in cost for the concrete work?
Sure. Their price is going to be $11,200. So that'll be the additional cost of the contract, and then we'll bring that change order back down as a reimbursement. So it's just a formality to go through the process.
So we would bring this item back to the village board in August at the board meeting for ratification. Okay, any questions?
Okay, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Rick.
Good. Next, resolution and professional service agreement with Hancock Engineering for the 2027 lead water service replacement project. The purpose is to approve a professional service agreement for design engineering services with Hancock Engineering for the 2027 lead water service replacement project, also known as the Lead Service Line LSLR project, with a not to exceed amount of $78,700. Recently, the village was informed that it did not make the intended funding list with the IEPA for the lead service line replacement program. There's a chance that the village can obtain bypass funding if it becomes available later in the calendar year. In order to be prepared for future bypass funding, Hancock must provide bid-ready documentation, including CAD drawings, design, specifications, and bid documents. Once complete, Hancock will submit on the village's behalf a request for bypass funding if such funding exists. If unsuccessful, these documents can be used for future bidding for LSLR projects. The fiscal year 26-27 water fund includes $80,000 available for engineering services related to LSLR. Village staff recommends that the board approve the resolution in agreement with Hancock Engineering for design engineering services for the 2027 lead water service replacement project. Therefore, motion to approve a resolution authorizing the approval and execution of a professional service agreement to be entered into between the Village of LaGrange Park and Edwin Hancock Engineering Company for the performance of design engineering services relative to the 2027 lead water service replacement project, and approving the expenditure of water funds to pay for such services not to exceed engineer's fee of $78,700.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hancock has served us well for many years. We have to have our paperwork in order. If by chance, miracle, we get some money, at least all our ducks would be in a row and we'd be ready. I'd support this.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Any other comments? Seeing none, Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy.
Next is resolution engineering agreement with Hancock Engineering and approve the expenditures for the Brainerd Avenue resurfacing improvements project. Purpose is to approve a professional service agreement for Phase 3 construction engineering with Hancock Engineering for the upcoming resurfacing of Brainerd Avenue and authorizing the expenditure of the 20% local match cost of the surface transportation program, which is federally funded. Brainerd Avenue from Harding to 31st Street is classified as a minor collector route and qualifies for federal funding under the STP to support roadway improvements. This section of roadway was identified by the West Central Municipal Government for improvements in fiscal year 27. Design engineering is complete and the project is now ready for bidding by the Illinois Department of Transportation letting in November of 2026. The project is federally funded by the Surface Transportation Program and has 80% federal funding with a 20% local match. This agenda item has two purposes. The first is to approve the expenditure of local public agency portion of the total cost. The total cost is currently estimated at just over $1 million. The LPA portion, 20% that the village is responsible for, is approximately $210,000. The second purpose is to approve the IDOT engineering agreement with Hancock Engineering. However, the agreement can't be fully executed by the village until IDOT has given final approval, which will be several weeks from now. But we will approve the agreement now, and the village president will sign the agreement once we receive the final approval. Staff recommends that the village board approve the resolution authorizing the 20% match expenditures and approving an agreement with Edward Hancock Engineering for the Brainerd Avenue resurfacing improvement project. Therefore, make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the approval and execution of a local public agency engineering services agreement, IDOT Form BLR 05530, between the Village of LaGrange Park and Hancock Engineering Company for the performance of Phase 3 construction engineering services related to the Brainerd Avenue resurfacing improvements project and approving the joint funding agreement for federally funded construction with the Illinois Department of Transportation and expenditure of motor fuel tax funds to pay for the local agency portion of services for the project not to exceed $210,000.
Second.
Motion is second. Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Every time we can improve a roadway is good. We've come a long way in just a short time, fixing potholes and increasing drainage and helping the town look as beautiful as it can. I support this, and again, this is not widening the road. This is just resurfacing it or moving parking to one side. So I support this, and I look forward to the project being completed.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Any other comments? Trustee Laudner.
Thank you, Mr. President. So since this is federally funded, a pretty good portion of it, do we anticipate there's going to be any requirements for parking changes or speed limit changes? Any rumblings on that at all?
No, we actually completed the Phase 1 study, and it was approved by IDOT with no parking restriction, no stop sign changes or anything. So what we see right now is basically what we'll have, just a resurfaced roadway with some curb and gutter and drainage.
So that part of it's been approved and completed?
Correct.
Or completed and approved in sequence?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, trustee Lautner. Sandy, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sandy.
That's all I had.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Moving on, Finance Committee, trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Financial update here for June of 2026. Fiscal year-to-date general fund revenue of $1,416,541 is at 11.2% of the annual budget, and that is $70,000 or 5.2% greater than last year. Property tax receipts of $100,467 are at $97,219 greater than last year, and that's due to the timing on Cook County's recently remitting a portion of the 2025 first installment collections that would have normally been received in the prior fiscal year. The county also anticipates a 2-month delay, although we have good news reported this evening that the 2025 second installment property tax bills. Other local taxes of $180,244 at just about $50,000 or 37.9% greater than last year. The increase is due to the new municipal grocery tax, which began in January of 2026. Our intergovernmental receipts of $805,680, those are down $46,152 or about 5.5% from last year, and that's primarily due to lower state sales tax receipts following the elimination of the state grocery tax in January of 2026. Our combined revenue from state sales taxes with the new municipal grocery taxes at $14,882 or 6.1% greater than last year. Licenses and registration fees of $9,169 are $3,865 or 72.9% greater than last year, and that's due to an increase in contractor registrations. Our permit receipts of $78,349 or about $10,500 or 15.5% greater than the prior year, and that's due to an increase in repair permits. Charges for services of $153,958 or $40,442 or 20.8% lower than last year, and that's due to lower ambulance service receipts and the timing of prior year water tower lease payments. Fine revenue of $32,477 is $8,024 or 32.8% greater than last year, and that's primarily due to ticket collections. Miscellaneous revenue of $56,197 is $12,474 or 18.2% less than last year, and that's due to lower interest revenue. Interest rates have declined over the past year following rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. Our total general fund expenditures of $1,856,413 are at 14.8% of the annual budget and $142,913 or 8.3% greater than last year. And importantly, all departments are within budget expectations, and that concludes the finance report for June of 2026 in this evening's report.
Thank you, trustee Lautner. Other reports, village clerk,
No report, Mr. President.
our village treasurer,
No report, Mr. President.
our village engineer.
Just a brief update on the central area sewer separation. We opened the bids, had very competitive bids for the 2 low bidders on both contract B and C. We are looking at those right now. We're doing some value engineering to ensure that they come in within our budgets that we had anticipated for the project. And we will be advertising open bids for contract A, which includes the pump station and the force main going to the north. So having all those costs in front of us, we should be able to look at awards at the end of August on those projects. So providing much relief to that area that sees a lot of water in these heavier storm events. So.
Thank you, Mark. Village Attorney?
No report tonight.
Commercial Revitalization, Trustee Zora.
Thank you. I have 5 items to report. The village's facade and property revitalization program now offers expanded support for commercial property improvements through a partnership with Central Federal Savings and Loan. Approved projects are eligible for 0% financing for up to 36 months with no points, closing costs, or document fees. In addition, the village offers reimbursement grants of up to 50% of eligible project costs, which is up to $20,000 for facade improvements, landscaping, signage, lighting, and upgrades. For more information, visit the village's website or contact Derek Rockwell. The second item is the village is advancing the paint and post project in the village market area following village board approval in June. Recommended in the village market streetscape improvement plan, this quick build initiative will improve pedestrian safety, calm traffic, and enhance the character of Sherwood Road corridor and Homestead Road and Woodlawn Road. Building on concrete improvements completed in the fall of 2025, the project will add temporary curve extensions, flexible delineator posts, and artistic pavement treatments. The village has begun design and implementation planning with Altogether Studio, with installation anticipated in September 2026. The third item is the Phase 1 preliminary engineering study for LaGrange Road's traffic safety improvements is underway, led by Kimley Horn. The study builds on recommendations from the Village Market Streetscape Improvement Plan and is evaluating improvements to pedestrian safety, accessibility, and mobility along the corridor. A public open house will be held August 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the LaGrange Park Public Library. Residents and stakeholders are encouraged to attend, provide input, and help shape the preferred alternative. The fourth item, the village continues to advance the 31st Street Corridor Transportation Plan with a draft currently under staff review. Guided by community input and existing conditions, the plan aims to improve safety, accessibility, connectivity, and the overall character of the 31st Street and Barnesdale Road corridor. Draft recommendations include signal timing adjustments, crosswalk enhancements, streetscape branding, and additional landscape and street trees. The draft plan will be posted on the village's website following staff review. Residents and businesses are encouraged to visit the village's website to review the draft and follow the progress of the project. The final item is the Grange Park Chamber of Commerce, is in participation with the Community Park District, will hold its annual chili cook-off on Thursday, September 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Memorial Park. Enjoy chili from local competitors, sponsored by the Chamber businesses, along with beverages from Hop District Community Brewing. Interested in competing or sponsoring the event, email lgpchamberofcommerce@gmail.com for more information. Chef spaces are limited. Follow the Chamber's Facebook page for event updates. And I wanted to say thank you for the Chamber attending the village board meetings. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Motion to approve committee and collectors report is presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I just have a couple things. Pat Smith, I want to thank you and the Chamber. I was unable to make it Thursday, but I understand that on staff we have a pro pickleball player by the name of Maggie. But I heard it was a great event, so thank you, Patrick. I'd also like to thank you and everybody at this table and Julia for the State of the Village. I thought it was a wonderful event. It was held. I want to thank the library, I want to thank the Park District, and also the Chamber, and you, Pat, for being on the panel, so it worked out really well. I thought it was a great event. We met with Senator Porfirio today, staff, and Trustee Zora and myself. That went well. We had the Hop District come over later in the meeting to discuss their situation with the change in law in November. Senator Porfirio was very welcoming. He gave us some great advice, and I think he's going to help them out a little bit. Arbor Day, as Trustee Council mentioned, is Friday. We're honoring Alexander Zuck. Hopefully everybody can make it. It should be a beautiful day. I have one, well, before we move on now, I had public participation already, but if anybody, you'd be coming late or something, if anybody would like to speak to the board? Seeing none, okay. New business, I'd like to recommend to the board that maybe we combine the two. I'm doing this all the time, and if the board's okay with it and there's no discussion from staff, I'd like to move the agenda and non-agenda related items together at the beginning of the meeting. Unfortunately, I'd move it up anyway because I hate to have a resident sit here for the whole meeting if they have a topic. So I'd like the board to consider it, and maybe with, I talked to Attorney Drusik and also Julia, and we'll see if we can get that going. Any other comments? Yes. Yes. Trustee Wagner.
Yes, I think that's a good idea, but then will there be an opportunity at the end in the event that someone has arrived later?
Yes, I will always have that open.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, I want to give the opportunity to those residents that come early, and, I mean, like tonight was a long meeting, so thank you for sitting through it, sir. Any other new business? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Everybody have a great week.
Kevin, get someone? Nice.